This is it, man. We've made it. The last regular podcast of the year. This is our third last podcast of the year. Heading into New Year's, we're talking about automotive news, top 10 stories of 2023. And to commemorate the day, I have the one of one ASOTU hat on.
Wow.
It's a one of one. They did a test and I was like, that was supposed to be black on black. And they were like, oh, you can keep this one. So it's the only one that exists like that. And
you know
what's
so sad is I should have gotten that one because it was like in Nashville, but I can't fit in it.
Oh my
There's
gosh,
not a
that's
chance.
Right. Can fit that big brain in a hat like this. And I also have this number 3.
Oh,
the lights, actually, I found out the lights work.
Oh, hey. Number 3.
Number 3.
3 total. Actually, this would have been
sure.
3 years ago. This episode would have been the last episode 3 years exactly ago today. Would have been the last episode we ran without video. So, like, if you want to go back to early Troublemaker days, scroll all the way back at those first few months, they were
in the podcast. Yeah, the audio version. And by the way, if you don't get the audio version and you just checked out the live stream, go to Spotify or Apple Music and just download, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a rating, all the things. The
on
audio
Apple
version
Music, you can actually go and search ASOTU. All of our podcasts will show up right there. So
if you just search ASOTU, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh my gosh, they have 3, 4, 5 different podcasts. We have a few.
Paul doesn't even know how many podcasts. I don't know how many podcasts we got.
I know we record a lot. We record a lot. But hey, heading into the new year, we know that dealers are in full speed ahead mode. Are dealers open New Year's Day? Some are.
Right? You know, I think it's some. Like there's some open on New Year's Eve. There's some open on New Year's Day. There's some closed both. There's some closed.
Yeah, New Year's Eve is going to be real weird. It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday. Yeah. What do you do with that?
I don't know. But listen, it has been an amazing year together. The community has grown a ton. We've met so many new people. We get, aside from what you see on like social media and in the comments, it's like an iceberg. You only see this tiny little bit. We are constantly inundated with calls, text message, people sending us photos and videos and things that are happening in dealers across the country, things that are inspiring people, things that are helping people be better practitioners, the results of those things. And I don't know, it's just a lot of gratitude for it. And knowing that I think 2024 is the year the thing just kind of comes off the hook because it's our third full year.
Yeah, we're about to, the whole theme of today is going through Automotive News put out their top 10 stories of 2023, and they're macro stories, like they're big things that happen in the industry that had a slightly more broad impact on most people in the industry, or at least like are known. But what we know is that the micro stories, the little things that happen daily, the life change because a mentor saw it fit to have a mentee that now grew in from starting as a salesperson to being a general manager, and they got to celebrate with that phone call and seeing life change through communities in that way. That's the heartbeat of this thing. Right?
It is.
All of this, the UAW stuff and the big deals and all of that. They all actually pale in comparison to the importance of what's happening on the ground every single day.
I think we need to use as many trigger pads as possible.
Let's go.
When going through this list. So speaking of going through the list,
segue
time.
All right, if you haven't heard this one, you are listening. UAW updates, number 1 on the list. Top news story. No surprise. The UAW strike. UAW calling the first simultaneous strike against all 3 automakers. And what was it, 8 weeks? The 8 weeks that ensued of ups and downs. And Sean Fain, who is a new character in the automotive story, made a quick impact and quick rise. And in the end, I mean, I feel like it ended in a really good way.
Yeah. Yeah. And worked out for everybody. Some people got big raises, and the automakers, didn't lose completely their pants like they thought they were going to. So,
and
speaking of losing completely your pants,
what? I don't even know what to do with that. I don't even know what to do. Speaking of losing your pants, but I think we have this trigger pad. Is this one right here?
In the year 2030.
We had a lot of hopes for the year 2030.
Yeah. The EV pullback is story number 2. Seeing EVs were climbing, but in the second half of the year, they've kind of pulled back. A bunch of dealerships led by our new friend, Mickey Anderson, who we've had on a couple of podcasts. You can search his name and find him, led 4,000 dealerships to write President Joe Biden and the administration that, hey, look, this thing's slowing down. The tax credits, they're not working like they were designed to. We might want to pump the brakes on this whole EV for everyone thing.
Speaking of EVs for everyone, that brings us into our third story. EV tax credits are the number 3. Look, the IRS has apparently set up a system that will allow dealers to issue the credits and get the credits transferred to them at the point of sale and be reimbursed within 72 hours. So we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a story that I'm sure we'll be talking about the second week of January. And we'll see how accurate that 72-hour timeline is. But EV tax credits are going to still be a driving force behind why people would purchase an EV. Speaking of driving or not.
Stop. Segue.
So the next one was the Cruise crisis. So if you don't know about Cruise, it was a autonomous vehicle project that was being kind of betaed in California. It was suspended recently because a pedestrian got injured and they didn't know who to kind of place blame on. So then CEO Kyle Vogt resigned, and then a bunch of other leaders got laid off. 24% of Cruise employees, see ya bye. And the project is a little bit on the back burner. So all of this billions of dollars going into autonomous vehicles starting to get a little bit dicey.
Oh my goodness, it's getting dicey. And as a result of the
UAW compromise.
As a result of the UAW compromise and contract, all the other automakers are very quick to give their manufacturing employees sizable raises to match or exceed what the UAW did. Shawn Fain obviously made it very clear that it is his mission to unionize every non-union automaker. So obviously making inroads in Chattanooga, Tennessee at the VW plant, also a lot of other places. Meanwhile, we have folks like Elon Musk saying he doesn't believe in the idea of unions, but also saying if our people want to unionize, it means we've done something wrong. So that's obviously going to play.
Shawn Fame's going for the bump set spike on the rest of the auto manufacturers. I'll tell you,
it was a good bump. It was a good bump. Can he say?
Speaking of a bump,
Stop. Segue.
This is a good kind of bump.
I had a conversation with David Spizak a couple days ago, and he said, it's amazing how slow things take, but how fast they are. That's exactly what the rebound is of inventory. And in this last year, we had what seemed like it was never going to come, and then just came all of a sudden in an inventory rebound. But that made U.S. new vehicle sales jump 14% in the first 9 months of the year, despite the interest rate headwinds that we face as an industry. So, hey, we got some inventory back.
Speaking of having inventory back,
or
having inventory,
or having lots of everything.
Lots and lots. The number 7 story is Lithia taking its place as the number 1 dealership group located in the U.S. On the Automotive News dealership list when it made its European purchase of Jardine Motors and Pendragon, moving the company closer to their goal of, what is it? $50 billion.
Billion dollars.
It is the money by 2025. So they got like 1 year left.
I'm pretty confident they're
well, actually, I guess depending on the semantics, they have 2 years.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident they're going to make that happen. Brian DeBoer is not slowing down acquiring things.
Oh, the hard part's over. The hard part's over. Yeah, it is. It is. Speaking of the hard part being over.
Well, we've talked about him a couple times already, but earlier in the year, Shawn Fain won the UAW presidency by just a narrow margin, ousting incumbent Ray Curry in a runoff. And he took the office by telling his constituents to, quote, prepare for war against the automakers, which he declared to be not the people we need to collaborate with, but the enemy.
Yeah.
So,
I remember his shirt that said, don't tax the rich, Eat the rich.
Eat the rich.
Eat the rich. I don't have a segue for this
There's
one.
no segue
But
for that
number
one.
9, I just squashed that opportunity down into the ground. The number 9 story as we round out, industry has adopted Tesla's EV charging standard. The last pin fell not too long ago, like this last week, with VW saying like, yeah, I guess we'll do it too. Ford was the first one to topple, and then they just went one after another. Toyota gave it a big boost, but now Tesla charging standard is going to be the standard moving forward. Tesla obviously opening its supercharger network up to lots of other manufacturers. So 2024 is probably going to be a year where we just see a lot more uniformity in charging, and like just solves a legitimate problem to EV adoption.
Yep, absolutely.
One more.
Solving a legitimate problem.
Segue.
Oh, the last segue of the year. And I don't know if you can call it a problem, but it is an online shopping problem that Hyundai and Amazon are hoping to solve with their new partnership, allowing Hyundai dealers to sell new vehicles through the Amazon platform and then progress that deal right through to the dealer. And there's a lot of hope that other automakers are going to follow suit, at least a hope from Amazon. There's a lot of wonder out there whether or not this is great for the dealer network. We've got our own opinions. Looks like another third-party inventory site that may have a little bit more shopping behavior attached to it. But either way, time to get prepared for the big dogs coming to your town.
Competition's good for everybody. That's it. We did it. 1 year of podcasting to wrap 3 full years of it was tiring, but we're going to take a break and we're going to see you back here in 2024 ready to take over the world.